Children, today we are going to start with notice writing and email. The first thing that we are going to do is notice writing. Now, this is one of the most scoring parts of your grammar paper. All you need to do is to follow the format properly, like we generally do in formal and informal letters. To score the full 5 marks, as you can see, the marks are there on the right, allotted to the first thing is a creative title. As you can see here, The War of Words. This is the first thing. Since this is about a debate competition, this is an appropriate title. However, depending on the question, you can come up with your own creative title. If it is not a debate competition, if it is an art competition or a creative writing competition, then you can come up with your own titles accordingly. But one very important thing to remember here is that the title needs to be strictly English. That is, words only of English origin. For example, in our school, we have tree plantation drives that is done during the monsoon seasons. We already have it in our school, and that is generally called Varsha Mangal. But you cannot title it Varsha Mangal Utsav, for it's not an English title. None of the words are of English origin, alright? So even though it is very applicable as far as the context goes, but you will be marked wrong. We can take another example. Suppose you are asked to write a notice which tells you to talk about or invite students to participate in a physics competition, and you are titling it as Eureka. It will not be considered. You shall lose the marks because Eureka is a word of Greek origin. The next thing that we come to is a subtitle. See, this is the subtitle. This portion, the inter-school debate competition. You will see that there are 2 marks allotted to the title and the subtitle. So, you need to understand that since there are 2 marks allotted separately to the title and the subtitle, the both cannot be the same, one and the same thing. The title, as you can see, War of Words, it's a very creative title. And what is it about? This is what is written in the subtitle. So the title has to be creative and fancy, while the subtitle should explain what the title is all about. So what is War of Words? It's an inter-school debate competition. For example, for an inter-school art competition, your creative title can be colors on canvas or things like that. The next things we come to here are, here you have the date, you have the time, and you have the venue. So very easily you can remember it as on, from, and at. And you can see that all of these, they carry half marks, alright? So, on is the date, from is the time span. Remember, now we are going to discuss it in detail, but you must please remember that on is the time span and at is the venue. On will be written exactly the same way as we write it in a letter. The TH, even though in MS Word it goes up as a superscript, it goes up, it will not be like that. It will come down and touch the bottom line. So, it should not be in superscript, it should touch the bottom line. Say 15th November. November N should be in capital, followed by a comma, and then 2020 followed by a full stop. The date, dear children, it is very, very important. Do not write any fictitious date. See, you're writing in 2020 and this date that you can see on the screen is 2017. This is not correct. So you can't use a date which is already past or a date which is going to be far away, like say 2 months later. It has to be very, very realistic. So if you're writing a notice today, the event must be scheduled in a week or maximum within 10 days time. Now, from is the time here. It should mention the entire time span. That is, it should mention the starting time as well as the ending time. Okay. So, giving one point here, I can tell you is that you can't write onwards. Suppose you're writing about a fete. You cannot say that our school fete is 5 p.m. onwards. Onwards is very, very open-ended. People won't know when the thing is going to end. The parents won't know when to pick their children up. So such a time will not fetch you any. So you need to be very, very careful that you are writing from 9 a.m. and you are going to say to or up to when. When is it ending? This needs to be mentioned. At, now you come to this, should have two venues. Alright, one is the lesser venue and the other is the greater venue. Here it says Centenary Hall, which is the lesser venue, and St. Mary's School, which is the greater venue. Now see children, this has to be very, very precise. It's just a suggestion that kindly do not use a term very specific to your own school. For example, when we are very familiar with the term gym audi, and you're writing gym, J-I-M, auditorium. The person who has read the notice, it is an inter-school competition, remember? So it might also very well be that the person who is coming to take part in it is not from Lucknow, coming from outside Lucknow. So he or she has read the notice, Jim Audi is in his or her mind, because he will not be carrying the notice physically in his hand. Once he enters the Jaipuria school campus, he is now looking for Jim Audi. Keep this in mind that he is under pressure. He is going to perform in a competition. Now he is going around looking for Jim Audi. And whenever for a layman we talk about gym, we generally tend to think G-Y-M. We don't know. The child may be wandering here and there looking for a gymnasium and then looking for an auditorium close to the gymnasium. And that makes him waste time. He is unable to find the place. So this is not a correct thing to do. So to play it safe, when you are writing a notice, please use safe terms like front field, which is the lesser venue, comma, St. Emma Jaipuria School, which is the greater venue. And even if not the front field, you can write back field or middle school library, St. Emma Jaipuria School. So something which is very easily identifiable and leaves no scope for ambiguity. The last 1 mark you see, this is where you are writing an entire sentence. This is for the first time you're writing an entire sentence. Apart from that, everything is in point form. Just the name, what is it all about, the date, the time, the venue. So the only one thing which you write in a proper sentence is the last line. And this last line carries 1 mark. Before that, just note that lesser venue and greater venue, they contain half mark each. So the last 1 mark is meant for the target audience. Now 2 things to remember here. One is that the target audience should be there, and secondly, the contact person details. This is the only place where you write a sentence. Otherwise, as I told you, everything is written in points. Most often, the target audience is given in the question itself. For example, your question is going to state things like, write a notice inviting students of class 6 to 8. So all pupils of classes 6 to 8 who wish to participate in the debate competition, you know this is the target audience. Now you come to the contact person. Here it's written Miss T. Baker, but again, let's make it realistic. And you have to now talk about the person they should meet. If it is an art competition, they should meet the art teacher. If it is sports, then they should get in touch with the sports teacher. If it is creative writing, Hindi or English, they should get in touch with the respective teacher. But when you write, please refrain from using the words ma'am or sir. You may speak in your day-to-day life, you may refer to your teachers like that. It is a mark of respect. Perfectly fine. Naila ma'am, Farheen ma'am, Ravi sir, Ashwini sir, that's absolutely fine. But when you are writing a notice, do not do that because it is a formal notice. If you do it, it will fetch you a 0. So while writing, you must write that these pupils of classes 6 to 8 who wish to participate in the debate competition should enlist their or register their names with, say, MS Farheen Zehra, Mrs. MRS Preeti Jha, or Mrs. Naila Razaki, etc. But you will not write simply Rashmi ma'am, Naila ma'am, Farheen ma'am, Ashwini sir. No, you are not going to write that ma'am or sir bit. You are going to make it very, very formal. Yes, Miss Farheen Zehra, Miss F. Zehra is also fine, but not Farheen ma'am. Now we come to the date. If you are writing the notice on the 18th of November, give a realistic date of if the competition, which is supposed to be held, say about 7 to 10 days later. So if the competition say is scheduled on 27th of November, then the children definitely enlist by 24th or 25th to keep that 2 to 3 days window of preparation before the actual competition takes place in the home school, because there are preparations to be done. We need to do a lot of things, so they must register 2 to 3 days before the actual competition is going to take place, and you will please give the date accordingly. Fictitious dates like what we have chosen here, 2017, already passed, is not to be marked correct. While you are writing, you should be able to see, now this is about appearance, how the notice looks like. Note that there is equal space left on the left side, this portion, as well as the right side, this portion. This notice is centrally aligned. Alright, it's written in the center. So the content should be centrally aligned, having equal space on the left and the right side. You are not going to start from the left margin like you always do with your essays, your letters. You start from the left, go completely to the right, and then come back to the left. No, this is not to be done in a notice. Your notice will be in the center with equal space left on the left as well as on the right. But note that only the last sentence is from the left to the right corner. It's from corner to corner. That is the only sentence you have written in the entire notice also. So please be careful about the presentation. See children, a notice is meant for a quick look, a quick glance. A person coming, looking at the notice board and then just jotting down the details and going. It cannot be very long and cluttered with too many details. All details should be visible in a single glance, as I am telling you. It should not be very long. So one pointer is that before you start writing the notice, draw the 3 lines. The left line, the right line, and the top margin. Draw this. It will be like a squarish thing but without the bottom line. Once you have finished writing the notice, now draw the bottom line and complete the box. Because notices must be written within a box. Don't draw the bottom line at the first, I repeat, because you don't know whether you're going to fit into it or something like that. So the left line, the top line, and the right line to be drawn, your notice to be written, and then the bottom line is to be drawn, right? Once the notice is completed, you please have a look at it and see that the box that is finally there is not very rectangular, which means that you have not written a very long notice. It should be squarish in nature. So if you remember these few details, I am sure that notice writing is just a piece of cake for you, and it is surely going to fetch you very good marks.